What up, Pack? Fico Jordan here. Man, it's been a great week this week. You know why we are here right now, obviously due to the title of the video. But earlier this week, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I decided that we wanted to be very transparent because, to be honest, there is a lot of cap that's going on amongst the trading community, especially on FinTwit. And in our group, we help people get rid of bad habits, become independent, confident, and turn a little bit into a lot. Don't pay attention to a lot of the misconceptions that you see on FinTwit, especially when it comes from a very losing mentality. Look, if you're watching this and you're an Alpha Pack member and you've been smacking it in the market and very important, and you feel like you've become more independent and confident due to what you learned in this community, go ahead and leave a wolf head emoji in the comments. We'll just leave it at that. But before we go any further, I want you to slap the like button the way Will Mead likes to slap the ass, and hit the notification bell. Make sure you subscribe. Now, I wanted to do this ride along. I'm not going to call it a challenge because, to be honest, it really isn't, and I want to show that up front. We had a great week to start things off, and so on Instagram I kind of let everyone know that we were going to be doing a $500 ride along challenge. You get to see me crash, burn, whatever. Now, even though this is the first time I'm going back to starting a small account in just over a year, whenever we started Alpha Pack Trading Group back in April last year, I think I started with $3,000, and in that first week I hit 28 on Friday. Now, things have gotten a lot better, a lot more streamlined, a lot more disciplined. Obviously, in a year, you would want to become a better trader in a year, right? So I wanted to kind of move the needle back a little bit. Let's start a little bit smaller, because a lot of people that are coming into the market, they're not starting with $3,000. They want to know, can I start with less than $1,000 and run it up? That's the truth. I remember when I first found out about trading back in 2016. Shout out to the homie First Haitian Billionaire on Instagram. Give him a follow. I thought you needed to start with about like $3,000, $5,000 in order to really give yourself some breathing room. But you need a good community, a completely objective strategy. There's one. Let's be honest. And you need someone who can guide you on how the market works and why it is doing what it is doing. Simple as that. I don't care what anyone says. This has been the philosophy and the belief that has worked time and time again for new people that join the group. And when they learn it, they're like, wow, why didn't I know this before? So starting with that, we weren't going to flip the script. We were going to stick to it. Now, you're going to look at this in this trade report and so forth, and you're going to say, wow, that was stupid, based upon what you have been taught about trading. And yes, you don't want to put too much dip on your chip if you don't have the confidence, experience, and a plan. That's it, a plan. If you don't have that, you're just gambling. Now, let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. Don't want to keep you long. Let's keep the wheels turning. First week, no reason to be here too long. So as you guys can see on my screen, I am using the new trading, journaling, and performance tracking software or platform, TradeZilla. Shout out to the homie Umar Ashraf over at Stock Market Lab. This software here, I needed to have it in order to track this whole entire process, no matter how long it takes us, whether it's the rest of the year, whatever the case may be. Now, as you can see here, this week started off with a bang. $500. We finished with a total net P&L of $13.23.55. We did have a profit factor of 11. Now, if you have a profit factor of 1, that means you were profitable. But the 11 made me feel pretty happy. Now, we had 10 total trades. 1 was a mistake. Still counted as a loser, but that's because I chose the wrong expiration. We'll get into that here in a second. Now, if you look at the average winning trade, $181.23, I would say starting out $500, that's really great. As you can see here, our average winning trade is $181.23. That's starting out the gates pretty good. The average losing trade is $63.14. I did have a loser that went from a winner into a loser. The expiration was great. It was 2 months out, but I didn't like the way it was moving. I could tell it was going to pull back. It didn't move in force, as if you know the strat, you understand that terminology. If you don't, you definitely want to tap in here on the YouTube page, and we've went over this many times, but it didn't move in force in one of these trades. I'll go into it. That was a loser. I lost more than I would have wanted to. I believe about 2 to 3% more than my stop loss. And so, it happens. Plus, the weekend before, I really didn't get a great chance to chart as well as I would have wanted to. I had a personal situation going on, and by the time I got a chance to look at things from better point of view, going into Monday morning, I realized that myself and Mr. Check My Resume, one of my partners, we kind of seen a couple things the same. And I realized by looking at his watch list and what I had found that morning, one particular move was an absolute banger. I took it to profit. It was kind of a heat check for me, just to make sure that I was seeing things properly. And I didn't get anywhere near as much profit on that trade as I could have. It went for over 700%. I got 30. It's cool. But look, things finished green. Winning percentage by days, we finished 3 out of 4. That's cool. One of the days is losing day. And look, 80%, I can't be mad at that. Let's just jump straight into the trade report. As you can see here, here are the trades. TradeZella is great about allowing you to customize what information that you're able to put into the log. That, whatever would be important to you, even if it's commissions, close time, duration, things like that. I will be taking a look at average duration, but I mainly swing. I don't typically day trade unless we get to 0 day. Those aren't lottos. Those are just as calculated as any of our monthly and weekly reversals. So, getting straight into it, we can jump straight trade by trade. Now, Kroger was my play of the week starting the week out. We had a 2-2 reversal on the week and a 2-2 reversal on the 2 week. Both of these triggers seem to be very strong. We had a pivot machine gun set up on the week. This is other terminology that you may not understand if you don't know the strat, but this thing went for a banger. But I was kind of sticking to the script starting the week out. I just wanted 30%. Like I said, it was just a heat check to see exactly if we were going to be able to shoot in rhythm. I'm going to relate a lot of this to basketball. Stick with me. So we did catch that entry there, pulled out 34.9%, and we took profit. Now, I had a lot of time. These were not weeklies. This was I believe a March 18th contract. Yes, March 18th, $48 call. This contract itself went for over 700%, finishing the week like just crazy from entry to the high of the week, I believe. Okay, we don't have the full chart. I just realized they're not going to show us the entire thing. And then I had a second position that I ended up entering on a weekly shot 32% at the trigger that we ended up swinging overnight. Now, had I held the weekly would have went over 1,000%. Sticking to the script, took my 32% and I got out. Like I said, it was a heat check. It was fine. Felt really good coming out of Tuesday, going into the rest of the week. And that's all I wanted. I wanted to shoot in rhythm, and making sure that I was sticking to my trade plans. My R multiple was at 2-to-1 at the time, and this was working out. I knew there was going to be something that was going to hit, especially the way the energy was running, and I can get straight into that. Now, Target was one that it definitely made sense. Our setup was a 2-2 up week reversal and a 2-2 up 2-week reversal on target at trigger. Now, target had earnings, so I knew based upon the strength that the volume was showing, they were definitely buying this. They were slapping the ask. They were throwing money on the dance floor. I can't ignore that. I have to take that trade. At trigger, we get in. I don't have to get a full position. This really felt like I knew what we were shooting for, looking at the 30%. Now, I'm at this point in my rhythm where I'm like, you know what? We're not getting out until we get an actionable signal. And so since I was sitting on April 14th contracts, you're just going to let this do its thing, right? Massive gap up going into the first on Tuesday. We take profit on a flip on a 2-2 reversal on the 60. I didn't really care if it moved in force. We went from looking for 30% to taking 226%. Can't knock that. Now, before I move further, I know you're like, well, how do I know that this is, that you didn't just enter these? If you look up here in the right corner, this is completely linked to my Thinkorswim account. Created a Thinkorswim account with TD Ameritrade specifically for this, just to have the $500 in. And, there was no reason to have to lie. I created the Thinkorswim account specifically for this, just so you guys could see that only thing I had to do coming into it was actually just click a button and it would sync all the trades the next day when the brokerage would catch up. Now, out of that target. Now, the bad trade, let's get into that. The loser. So, Costco, okay, so no, it looks like my percentage was exactly at stop loss. So that's where I got out of that. Now, the thing with Costco is if you look down here, we actually were in profit by $60, but I didn't like the way it was moving at trigger off of, I believe it was a 2-2 reversal. Now, Costco, the reason why this turned out to be a bad trade, and I'm thinking about it now, number one, and I'm keeping notes of all of the mistakes that occurred. You definitely don't want to keep revisiting the same mistakes over and over and over again, right? So one of the things specifically on this was the contract was $770. This is my fault for choosing a contract that cost too much for my account size. Pretty much took up the entire portfolio. Now you're asking, you put almost in your entire portfolio in the play? Yes. When I have a small account, I tend to do this often, mainly because it's very easy to tell when something is moving in force and not moving in force. Plus, with our setups and triggers, you're going to stick to your stop loss. I'm not too concerned about it. I knew it was going to move in profit, but once it did move in force, I knew it wasn't going to move the way that I needed it to really hit my target and move beyond that. Now, when you're asking, so I'm only looking to take 30%, not just 30%, I want to make 30% minimum. That's going to make me happy sticking to the plan and projection sheet that I've created for myself regarding this account and what I'm trying to do over the next month to 3 months. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're not moving in force at trigger. Let's just go ahead and get out. So it did end up triggering the stop loss at the sale. Bang, we're out. Now, to lose $115 at the time, I really wasn't sweating it because I seen and knew immediately what I wanted to get into. Now, the rest of the group have been playing oil. In my other account, I'm looking at Oxy and MRO, both in those for June and April. Bangers. They've been running up like crazy. We've been playing oil in our group since like November last year. It's worked out wonders. So I knew I needed to divert my attention to a sector that was moving with strength. Now, I did take a look at Vale materials. Why am I not going to look at Vale? I needed to shoot and get back in rhythm after another missed shot. Let me just go ahead and get to my spot. You understand? So the second mistake that was made, bad trade. Now this was an accident. I chose the wrong expiration. I placed this order from my phone. I did not mean to choose a March 11th. I meant to choose a March 18th. When I entered the trade, immediately, like, the percentage was down. And I'm like, wait, what in the world? Vale was moving up. Let's see if you can catch my entry here. Vale was gradually moving up, and this entire time, if you go back down here, the contract was going down. Immediately, I knew something was wrong. As soon as I noticed it, I went ahead and rolled the contract over into the March 18th. Bang. And this actually worked out very well. I was able to add into the position. As you can see, never touched red at all. Stuck to the plan, rolled into the next week. Now, we could have made more money. As you can see here, we finished at 217, could have finished at 393. I like the way things worked out. Didn't hit 30%, got the 26.5. I liked the way things shot. Now, my attention really hit was Oxy. We came into our 0-day call on Thursday, hosted by Mr. Check My Resume. If you're a member of the Alpha Pack Trading Group, you know how these calls go, right? It's the most attended call or class that we have in our group. There's a reason why we call Mr. Check My Resume, Mr. End Your Friday Early, Mr. Start Your Weekend Early. Like, he calls out bangers going into 0-day. Now, these are very calculated. They're not lottos, but you can turn a little bit into a freaking lot. You're going to see exactly why I was looking at that. Now, nothing looked great after futures dropped and pulled back going into Friday. But energy didn't gap down, stayed consistent. So immediately I'm like, it's a no-brainer, right? Oxy's moving. Now, going through those setups, Oxy had the inside day. Looked amazing. This is nothing more than asking for me to slap the ass, right? So, in the process of commanding attention, I'm wanting to set up a combo pack. In our group, this is so going into the day, I'm knowing if Oxy triggers, I'm going to want to set up a combo pack. In our group, this is where we take multiple positions. I'm not going to get much more of that. This is kind of proprietary information, but anyway, first position that I had was April 14th at trigger. We don't see much of a drawdown. This is the reason why we use time. Now, we realize most people typically steer clear away from getting contracts far out. If you're taking things at trigger and you're not guessing or waiting for spaghetti. Now, if you're taking things at trigger and you're not waiting for rainbow spaghetti to tell you when to get into entries, you're not going to see much of a drawdown, and you're going to know that at that trigger, if things didn't move in force, I'm going to want to get out of it, right? So this is exactly what we did. We take it at the 212 on the day, back up, steady Eddie. This is what oil has been doing for us. So our net P&L on this trade was $621.35. You can see the R multiple, well over our 30%. Net ROI, 107%. For an April contract on the 0-day, that's a banger. Now, yeah, Oxy did run for like well over 17%, so I get it. But this is not something that was shocking to us if you consider what's happening on the global stage regarding oil. Now, the trade that made me the proudest wasn't this. It was the second part to this trade. So whenever we're watching these setups run up, you're always looking for opportunity to add onto the contracts that you have time, or on 0-day, you're looking to take advantage of the fundamentals of the strat. We had an amazing broadening formation that formed coming off this TTO on the 15-minute on Oxy. Let me show you how that went down. So this is the setup I was looking at Oxy at the time. Right now, as you can see, we do have a pullback from this broadening formation. So we've seen the strength that Oxy showed. We know corrective activity is happening. And at the $52 level, there was a daily pivot, I believe, that went back all the way to, I want to say like this, or 2019. And so knowing that we're getting corrective activity at that level, I was looking to take advantage of 0-day contracts, shooting for that 30%. This was low hanging fruit, to be honest. Like, this is the fundamentals of the strat. I'm looking for actionable signal. Excuse me. And we know we have a broadening formation, and we're going back into continuity considering the time that it was during the day. And so we came down and took out this 10-15 candle, and then immediately it bounced to go back up. So for my entry, I'm looking to take things over this high of 51.29. Now, to go ahead and kind of let things play out here, so you can see we get this break in force and it moves and hits first target. So once it hits the target and moves in force, I didn't even take entry at the trigger. I wanted to be certain that it was going to move to the other side of the broadening formation. We're live on this, talking about it on Zoom whenever I noticed this trade was working out in this. Bro, I'm not the only one who entered this. It paid off just noticing that we could catch that TTO. Triangle day out. Shout out to Rob Smith. Now, as you can see here, things kind of did blow through the top just the way we were hoping that they would. And we end up taking the trade literally just under or at the open of the 11:45 candle. We get an absolute crazy run up, finishing the rest of the day. Now, that last candle blowing through the top of the broadening formation was just amazing. Now we're up so much, I'm not really even concerned until we are going to get an actionable signal that's going to tell me that, yes, it's time to go. It's time to protect the chicken, and it's time to get out of the trade. So when you look here at Oxy, you can see from our entry that I just showed you in TradingView, and then the exit here, we didn't take anywhere near as much as we could have, and we still finished with 251%. Things are blowing out of the water. Now, this R multiple was dope. It was a 40-1. That was amazing. These are trades that we look for, and to be honest, they do happen every week. This is not the only thing that ran. Like I said, Kroger went for over 1,000% on the weeklies, and on that March 18th contract, that thing went for over 700%. This same thought process and philosophy is how I trade on a daily basis. I'm not happy about the two mistakes, which could have been avoided. So we almost had 100% on the week, but nonetheless, not being able to be as prepared as I would have liked starting the week out. Hey, I'm not mad at this at all. So this is just to get things started. We're going to be here tracking this journey throughout this process. Now, if you want to tap in with us, visit www.alphapack trading.com. And if you want to take advantage of the best option course in the game, you're definitely going to want to click the link down in the description box. Now, make sure you like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you do not miss these recaps going forward. We're going to do a few of these live, so people will be able to ask questions and see why I'm doing what I'm doing. And on Fridays in our group, if you want to see what we do and take advantage of these setups and opportunities, we do a Bring a Friend Friday to trade on Fridays. If you want to be a friend of the pack, you can come trade in our live Zoom for free. No membership involved. Now, if you do take advantage of the Alpha Way, you will be able to receive a free one-on-one for myself, 30% lifetime discount with the Alpha Pack Trading Group. And you'll get access to our mentorship group, which, if you're new to the strat, this is where it's a more hands-on approach. We do bi-weekly classes on the weekend to help expedite this process, and those classes get uploaded into the modules. We do Q&A afterward, and yeah, this has been a game changer for a lot of people in the group. This is why I'm here doing this ride along, so you can see how we go about taking a little bit into a lot. And this is not just something that I'm able to do in our group. We teach people in the group how to do this, manage these small portfolios and grow them and be able to become independent, more confident traders. Hey, if you're a member of the pack, please leave some comments below, letting individuals who are new to us, just seeing things, let them know your experience in the comments below. But until next time, peace.